So Jade said I should be authentic, so I'm doing my first public speaking with wet hair. So thank you for being very welcoming. So I felt comfortable doing that. I'm talking about how life is short and we all need to be happy. And I'm writing this from the point of view of a vet, because that's what I am. But this goes for everybody. So I'll talk about doctor here, but it's not just about doctors. So keep that in mind. Memory is a funny thing. Memory, when I ask people what their memories are of my mom, they say she was patient, she was kind, she was soft-spoken, she picked her battles. But I remember that she got hangry, like I do. There was not a word for it back then, but that's what she was. I know that now. And she had one side of her hair that always flipped out no matter what she did. And she always liked to make lists. I do that. She would make lists on little pads that she carried in her purse, and she'd cross things off with Bic pen. And I remember the lipstick that she wore and how it smelled and what the colors were called and how the tubes felt in my hand. And I remember that she was beautiful. But I didn't know that then, because she was just my mom. I was 13. She got bronchitis. It was super annoying. She coughed for like 6 months. And I started 8th grade. I was worried about being 4'8", and I was picked last for gym class, and boys were never going to like me, and I was worried about that stuff, and my mom had chest x-rays done, and it wasn't bronchitis. And I remember this, that she fought that battle with everything that she had. But 18 months after the last day she was a mom with a cough, I got called out of Spanish class to go say goodbye. I'm 40 years old now, and she was 47. And you guys, she left me with the most amazing gift, and I'll get back to that. But right now, I want to talk about something that happens to some of us after a long day at work. And when I say us, I want you to know I actually mean I. But in 40 years, I have learned that if one thing is true, it's that in a world where there is a conference for dudes who like My Little Ponies, you are never the only one who feels a certain way, right? So I am saying we, but I mean me. So we have a long day at work. We see appointments for like 10 hours, maybe 12. We stay late to make charts and calls, and we're on all day. You know, we're approachable, we're easy to talk to, we're in command of our emotions, we're great. And then we're anxious to get home, so we pack up our stuff and we get in the car. And somewhere between work and home, in that car, the doctor, the patient, empathetic, smiling, kind doctor, morphs into our alter ego, whose personal motto is, "No one knows my struggle," right? And we go inside, and the first thing we do, without even saying hello, maybe sometimes, is we pick a fight with the person that we love over something stupid. Like there's trash that has to be taken out, or the dogs haven't been fed, or why are the dishes in the sink? I mean, how can they be so freaking lazy when they know what kind of day we must have had, right? Then we check our voicemail, and we have a message from somebody who loves us, who we love back. And they want us to call and catch up because they have news. But do we call them? No, we do not, because we cannot physically talk to one more person. And we think it's actually kind of barbaric that they think that we would want to after the day that we've had. I mean, have we met? So then, and I know Jen Galvin knows what I'm talking about, then we get in the shower or bed, and we sit there and we have these arguments with ourselves about what is going to happen if we go to our supervisor or our team or our manager and we tell them, you know what, I'm not sure this is good. You know, I haven't talked to my dad in like months because I just can't have a conversation. I'm tired, I'm burned out. But we know what they'll say, right? They'll say that we're entitled and we're lazy and we're being dramatic and we have to just suck it up, buttercup, because this is the job. And that's really pretty crappy of them, right? I mean, how could they say that? So we get up the next day and we go to work, ready to do it all again, and maybe that day's not so bad. That's always how it is, right? The next day, after we've had that conversation in the shower, is not so bad. And we're like, oh my God, I'm a big crybaby. Like, I'm a wussy pants crybaby, and I need to just get a grip because my life is not that hard. And then before you know it, it's been 10 years or 20 years, and you're stuck in this cycle of doom where you're alternately defeated by conversations that you never actually had and angry with yourself for not being able to just be happy. And in vet med, we're not supposed to talk about that, right? We don't have a profession, we have a calling, right? This is what we're supposed to be doing. And we are, we love what we do, so we're never supposed to be working a day in our lives, right? So why are we so miserable sometimes? And I have fought this for almost my entire career. This is what you picked, I said. This is what you have to do if you want to be called doctor. So stop your whining. And because I thought there was only one way to do my job, and it wasn't making me happy, and people were telling me that it was supposed to be making me happy, I felt ashamed. And I did everything that I could to find other things that would make me happy. So I took up a whole bunch of extracurricular activities. And I'm happier for having those things. But I know now that I was using them to escape having to sit still and feel my feelings about work. It's okay to have things you love outside of your job. I would even argue that it's the most important thing you can do to be happy at work, to have things that make you happy outside of work. Sort of blasphemous when we're supposed to be following our hearts and not a paycheck, right? But I think it's true. But I don't think it's okay for us to settle for saving all that happiness for outside of work. I don't want to spend my time off getting over a work hangover. I don't think that's right. I think there's got to be something we can do so that we can be happy at work too. And I see post after post online from vets who feel like they're trapped in that cycle of doom, who think that their only way out is to leave practice. And maybe it is. Maybe that's the way out for them. But I think in so many cases, it's actually inertia and the fear of change and the relative safety of the status quo that keeps us where we are. And I think it's such a tragedy to lose these talented, smart, good-hearted people because they feel like they have to do vet med the normal way, the cycle of doom way, or not do it at all. And I think in a field where we have depression and anxiety and attrition and regret and guilt and suicide at the forefront when people talk about us now, maybe the normal way is actually what we need to change. So I think that we need to work together to try to break that cycle, the angry, defeated, guilty, angry cycle of doom. I think we have so much to offer as humans, not just as doctors or as vet professionals, in a field that has to evolve if it's going to change, if it's going to survive. I think we all need to find a change that can help us be happy when we leave for work in the morning most days, and be happy when we get home at night most of the time. And that change is going to look different for everybody. For some, it's finding the joy in the job that you have. For others, it means stepping out of that safe zone and finding a team to work with who knows that getting the most out of you means letting you give it freely, letting you give it in your own way, and giving the gifts that only you can bring to this field. And if you're not sure what those are, that's okay, because you've got time to think about that. You just have to start thinking about it, right? Make a Venn diagram, right? Grade school friend. Circle for the things that you love, circle for things you're good at, and look at where that overlaps and start there. How can you do more of that every single day and less of the stuff you hate? In my case, it was the unpredictability. Oh, hey. Have I not been talking to the microphone? In my case, it was the relative unpredictability of practice, the extroversion that really stressed me out. I felt guilty for not being able to help everyone, and I felt like, it got to be a weight on me, and I couldn't lift it. I need time alone. I'm creative. I like to think about the big picture. I'm a vision person. But I also love being in practice. I love being surrounded every single day by the human-animal bond that I've worked so hard to be around. And I could live without that. I could. But I don't want to have to. And to get to this point, I had to forgive myself. And so do you. You have to forgive yourself for all the times that you came home and you were kind of a jerk to somebody that you loved, and all the times that your friends and family may have judged you in your head, and all the time and money that you spent getting to the point that you thought you needed to be at to be called doctor. And for the feeling that you are less if you want to do less of something that doesn't make you happy. The gift that my mother gave me was an understanding at a very young age that no matter how long the days may seem, the years will fly by, and they are never, ever enough. So you owe it to yourself and to everybody else around you to find what makes you happy and go the hell after it. Don't look back at a life spent angry with yourself for not being somebody else's definition of happy. We need you in this field. And the more of us who stick around and make our roles what we need them to be, what we want them to be, the easier it'll be for those who come after us. Change is hard, it's scary, I know that, but the scarier thing still is thinking about being in that hospital 7 years from now, or 10 years or 40 years, and having a life of regret. So be brave, seek change. I know we can do it. Thank you.